Welcome to the Great Awakening Show. I am Joanne, Divine Life Yogini, and on the show this week, we have Steve Nobel, who created the Soul Matrix, which is a healing system for starseeds and a library of incredible meditations and transmissions that has over 126,000 subscribers on YouTube. He is also a wonderful author of 5 amazing non-fiction books. And my Yogini talk this week is Awakening and Ascension. We are going through the greatest awakening this world has ever seen. It's an unprecedented time of spiritual enlightenment, a great shift in consciousness, and it really is the greatest time to be alive, to see fear and lies dissolve and love and truth take their place. Our ancient ancestors had all the wisdom, knowledge, truth, peace, and magic for thousands of years. And then as we left the natural world, we fell from grace, fell from the light into chaos and darkness. Our dark past led us away from our true loving selves. We forgot that we are spiritual energy beings having a human life experience, and that we are connected to the universe and to all things in the most beautiful, wondrous ways. This forgetting makes us think that we are separate from everyone and everything, and that life is a constant battle of trying to find that peaceful, blissful oneness again. Awakening means to awaken from your false ego to your true divine self. For we are all human divine beings, and to know thyself means to know you are a soul of love. You are a flame of God, Goddess within, and you are inseparable from your creator. Ego is the false self-personality, the persona and the mask that we show to the world. The role of the ego is to keep us safe. However, the ego becomes dominant, keeping us attached to our needs and wants and to our fear and suffering, so we are unable to awaken. We are sovereign beings, yet our ego finds it easier to be in fear or to be the victim or to be in the poor me state rather than taking that leap of faith out of our comfort zones. The ego finds it easier to sit back, allowing the news or the media to tell us their lies rather than researching the truth and what is really going on in our world. The ego finds it easier to stand aside when we know things are wrong in our society, rather than standing up for our God-given rights, beliefs, and divine intuition. However, as we begin to wake up, we realize we are not our ego, our thoughts, our feelings, or our body. For we are the soul consciousness and the true observer behind them all. Once we begin healing the negative, fearful ego mind that keeps us all in a chaotic, unconscious sleep and commence our conscious awakening, we have freedom from fear, we are empowered, we become sovereign, and thus we own our destiny. Consciously evolving higher and higher is a law of nature. And to me as a yogini, this process is represented by the lotus flower, where its roots are in the dirty water, which is ignorance, material craving, and the lower dimensions. Then it grows and evolves, raising itself upwards out of the water into the light of the higher dimensions to unfold into the stupendous flower of enlightenment and become one with the universe, with Source and with God, Goddess. This is the same in human beings as our Kundalini Shakti energy rises up the spine, piercing each chakra. It unites with Shiva at the crown in samadhi, which is our own state of heaven. Heaven is not a place we go to. Heaven is a higher fifth dimensional state of consciousness that we shift our reality into, and it's being and living a divine life now. Ascension means to raise your vibration, your energetic frequency, as everything is energy and everything energetic vibrates at specific rates. The ascension of humanity at this great awakening time means raising one's frequency out of the lower energies or dimensions, so our whole being resonates much faster than it does in our 3D world. Once you move into higher dimensions, you are no longer governed by fear or the ego, but are in alignment with heart, mind, and soul, where you are balanced and where you call back all those parts of yourself you gave away to people, places, and things when you were lost. We may do this by performing our inner work, our meditations, our self-examination, and releasing our shadows and darkness so we can hold more light and become crystalline. Thus, we may experience enlightenment, heaven, right now, right here on earth, in our physical body, and help others do the same until every soul is a representation of love, which is humanity's ascension, where heaven and earth join together as one. At this time of the Great Awakening, all planetary systems are beneficially ascending, which has caused intense frequencies and higher energy waves to flood the earth. These positive energies are purging the negative shadow energies into the light, which is forcing the dark forces, the evil, corrupt ones, out into the open for all to see. We are witnessing the very darkest, contorted manifestations of life unleashed. This is the price we paid for thousands of years of acting from our false ego and not hearing the divine calling of our soul heart within. This human denial has led to inner distortions and wrong living, playing out their fearful negativity, destruction, and suffering in our collective timeline. If energy is not channeled for good, then it shall be channeled by the elite globalist controllers for their evil agendas, which we have allowed for so long. Yet this fear and suffering we are experiencing is the contrast that forces us to awaken, forces us to own our power, forces us to make a stand, forces us to unite together, and forces us to uncover our light and our true self within. As old systems that do not serve humanity's higher good fall away, it brings in the wondrous life-enhancing systems of our beautiful new earth. Millions are awakening all over the world. People are becoming aware of their love within and realizing kindness is the power that unites us all together. People are becoming aware of their thoughts and feelings and choosing only the most heightened. People are opening their hearts to forgive and love one another. People are knowing their oneness with Source and all living beings. And people are realizing that their soul chose to be the love, chose to be the light here on earth at this time as we move through this great awakening, this great shift, and this great transformation at this time. Our absolute reality is we are love, we are sovereign, we are divinity within. This is awakening, this is ascension, and this is the secret to eternal life.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
Steve, welcome to the Great Awakening Show.
Thank you, Joanne. Thanks for inviting me.
It's lovely to have you here. So, Steve, we need your wisdom and your truth. Please tell us, what does this Great Awakening that we are all going through mean for you and for us all?
A Great Awakening. I like that film, The Matrix, which I watched in the 90s, which was about Neo waking up. You know, he was looking for the answer to the Matrix. He was looking for Morpheus, and then he found the answer. And it kind of woke him up, you know, from that kind of computer world where we're not waking up in that kind of way. We're not being pulled out by, you know, spaceships out of sewers and having needles pulled out of us or anything like that. But the idea of being asleep in this world means having a disconnection from our spiritual nature, our truth. In this world, we're taught to connect more with our mind, our personality, and the material stuff of the world. You know, get a job, have a mortgage, live life, have a holiday, be happy. But when we start waking up from that kind of life, we have a different perspective on the world. So the ideas I started embracing when I woke up in the 90s was that this was just one life of many lifetimes, that I'd lived lifetimes before and I will live lifetimes after this, not necessarily here, but in other places. This is just one place.
Yeah.
And the other idea was that we come for a reason to expand the soul's experience of all kinds of different dimensions and bodies. And this particular time is a very interesting time on this planet because we're going through Ascension, which is where the vibrational nature of the planet is changing. The vibration of the planet's been pretty low for a long time, but now we're waking up to a higher vibration, which means we're shifting from suffering and struggle and slog and martyrhood and wars into a higher vibration, a higher possibility of peace. Peace is, in a world that's had war for, you know, thousands of years, peace is an amazing possibility.
Yeah.
But peace is just the beginning of a whole range of other things, you know.
Yeah.
So shifting our vibration into more joy, more love, more light. And what I discovered also on the path was we have limits to these things. So I discovered when I was waking up that I have a limit to the amount of joy I can allow in my life, or I could allow. There was a limit that I felt I could allow of love or intimacy into my life, or abundance, all of these limits which kept me into this kind of zone of what I was used to. And so when I woke up, it's like, no, we're going to come out of that zone. We're going to go and experience something else. So more abundance, more joy, more whatever the soul wants to experience, because the old world, the one we're leaving behind, was growth through opposition to the light. So we grew by being it was like
the contrast.
We'll learn about light by having lots of darkness. The contrast. We learn about courage on the battlefield. We learn about, you know, love through heartbreak. But now we learn about love by expanding the possibilities of love, or expanding the possibilities of abundance. You know, we learn about abundance through scarcity, you know. Now we don't need to do that anymore. So waking up for me was really a practical affair, because I wasn't really interested particularly in connecting with God or anything like that. It was really at the beginning was, well, can my life change? Can I can I experience a different type of quality of life? So that started to happen. And then I started getting more interested in higher self, oversoul, source energy, and all of these things. And I was like, oh, wow, that is more of a point. Yes, I can create abundance and I can create more love and joy, which is great. But really the point is, how much light can I hold in the body? How much connection can I have in the body while being in this body? How connected can I be? And expanding that, you know. So now I'm getting all kinds of guidance and downloads and all kinds of things, which in my old 3D life, I would have considered impossible.
Yes.
Now it's just like, oh, well, it's just what happens. Or miracles, impossible. But now, like, oh, another miracle's happened. Well, that's great. I don't treat it as abnormal anymore.
And isn't it like, you know, we begin to hold more light, and then you have to go through a stage of purging, letting go, releasing, and then coming up. It's a constant state of evolving, isn't it? You know, constantly. Yeah.
The more light we take in, the more we realize our bodies are a bit toxic and they have to purge. The more light we bring into our emotional bodies, the more we realize we're carrying old energies from 30 years ago, from grandparents from
Past lives.
wherever
Yeah.
that needs to be purged. Yeah, other lifetimes we can hold as well. I did a ayahuasca journey a couple of years ago, and I purged war in my body for hours and hours and hours. All I saw was war and death, and it was purging out. I was holding it in my body,
Yeah.
and that was going on. And so there is a purging in the mind, because one of the things that happens with the mind is that the shift of power. The mind is really the power center, isn't it? We believe that the mind is the key to the universe, but actually the mind is not the way. The mind can become an obstruction to the way. And actually we have to realize, we have to kind of diminish the power, like more clarity, yes, more vision, yes, but actually the heart becomes the guide, and not the head stops being the leader. We've promoted the mind to the CEO of the company, and it shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
The heart should be promoted back.
It's so true. It's all about opening the heart at this time, isn't it? Opening the heart, coming from the heart. Anything that you do coming from that heart, beautiful electromagnetic energy that we give out from this heart is so powerful. It's our place of attraction, and it's just open-heartedness. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Open-hearted. And I suppose for a long time, women have been allowed to be more open-hearted than men. Men have been, don't be too emotional, men. Women, women, they can be emotional, but being in the heart is not about being emotional. It's about being driven from the heart. It's about being guided in the heart. It's about being connected to the body. And I think being a man, I realize a lot of men are disconnected from their bodies, disconnected from their hearts, which means disconnected from the intuition as well.
Yes.
The mind is not our source of intuition or inspiration. The heart is really, actually. I mean, if you ever read an academic piece of writing, it's never going to inspire you.
No.
If you read Rumi or Hafiz, you're going to be off, you're going to be dancing,
Yeah, it makes your heart soar, doesn't it? It's that beauty that makes your heart soar. So, and I want to know, I really want you to explain, because you do these fantastic, most beautiful meditations online. Describe for our audience, describe what meditation means for you.
Meditation means turning the focus of our attention into our inside world. We're mostly taught to be out there objective, look at reality. What rocks are hard, water's wet, to ignore our inner reality. But actually our inner reality is very powerful, and it's the source of a lot of power and a lot of suffering if we don't recognize it. The power of the imagination, the power of our higher self, guides, angels. There's all these powers around in the universe, and the earth, the power of the earth, the power of the sun, that we can connect to, not by looking at the sun with an outer vision, like I'm looking at the sun, it's pretty, with sunglasses, something, but going in meditation and feeling the power of the sun as light, as codes, as clearing. And meditation has so many uses. It's good for cleansing, it's good for releasing, it's good for connecting, it's good for uplifting. For example, a lot of difficulties people have is in relationships, but actually it's not necessarily about talking more to that person. It's about going in and going, what's the key pattern that I'm playing out here that I need to tweak and change? I put several meditations up that help in that way. One's the Buddhist meditation, loving kindness, which I've adapted, which helps to clear energies between you and another person that you're having difficulty with. Or I put up one recently, which is called clearing a difficult pattern in relationships. It's around clearing. A lot of it's clearing because naturally human beings are naturally loving, naturally connective, naturally harmonious. But when we clear all the crap, it allows this to come through. So it's like wellness happens if we clear out toxicity. Yeah, well, when we align with a higher intelligence and a higher vibration, because when we can do that, like an angel is supposed to vibrate at a much higher frequency as us. So if we just meditate on an angel, for example, and all my meditations begin with these 6 angels, that alone shifts our energy. But then we can call in other energies. So one of the ones I really like calling in is ultraviolet fire, which is a very clearing one. or golden white fire from the great central sun, which is also clearing but not as intense, it's more uplifting. Or there are other energies, like the quality of love can come as a color, the quality of harmony can have a color, the quality of abundance has a color or a frequency. And so we can start connecting in. A lot of abundance issues, or all abundance issues really, start within, and they manifest outside of ourselves. You know, I had a lot of scarcity in my life. My family were you know,
me
driven
too
by scarcity.
And we hold on to that, don't we? It's like they can be patterns, karmic patterns that are passed down from generation to generation, and it's not ours to carry. So by doing a cleansing and, you know, an alignment, it's all energetic. Once we can purge that, it's almost like we clear it. We become 0 point. We become, you know, that we can hold much more abundance, because I've had a lot of problem with that as well. I think we come from that era when we weren't taught about these tools, you know, back then. We, you know, our parents, they just grew up in that poverty-stricken way. So we, without them knowing, they you know, poured it onto us, and we just
and the bloodline that my family, working class with a lot of poverty issues, working class. My mother's side of the family, particularly very poor, you know, and I grew up in, you know, it wasn't really abundant at all on a council estate in London, and it felt. I went to a state school. Actually, it was a good state school. I did go to a state school, but I had to learn all of the patterns I was holding around money, all the belief systems, all the stories, and also how money is energy and how money can be processed in our body. So one thing I found, I used to live in a community actually with ex-Buddhists, and Buddhism is not it was not particularly abundant, you know, they don't have abundant lifestyle.
They have a bowl, the bowl, that's what they got.
There's the bowl, and it was pretty sparse, you know, but it was a lot of fun. I did have a lot of fun in that community. But I remember one day just standing and just contemplating money. Why is money such a problem? And I got an answer come in my mind, because money is not clean energy. And I was like, oh, money's not clean energy. But I need money. And then the answer came back, think of money like water. Water is not clean energy. And I was like, yeah, what do I do with water? I filter it out and I clean it, and so I was like, oh, you know, like duh, you know, like the Simpsons donuts or something. Oh, right. You have to filter out money. Yes. And so one of the transmissions I did was actually expanding all the channels of money, but filtering it out so that we don't take in, because money carries a lot of anger, greed, rage, shame from billions of people projecting on money. So we can allow money in to the extent we can clean it and also expand the channels coming into us. So I've kind of, after 50 odd years of really struggling with money, I kind of think it kind of went click. Oh, I've worked it out now.
So your meditations, they're on the Soul Matrix, and you put them out on YouTube, don't you?
Because when I was in Bath, I was opposite the Roman baths, and I connected with the energy of the sacred spring there, and I got another one came.
Yeah.
And so really, I've got several waiting. It's just because it takes time to record it, edit it, put music to it, create a video of it. So I'm a one-man band. You know, at the moment.
That's beautiful though. And that is so beautiful to be, that is so beautiful to be in that aligned, beautiful state where, you know, through your meditations, through your awakening, you've put yourself where it just comes now. It's just effortless. It just comes to you. So, and I think that's what meditation does. Meditation brings alignment, doesn't it? To mind, body, and soul. It brings them parts of ourselves that we gave away. It brings them back into our wholeness. That's how I see it. And when I meditate, I mean, I've been a yogini for 24 years, you know, practicing yoga and meditation, but it's just, I have to touch that divine love light energy every day to fill myself up, you know, and then I can give it out.
Yeah, exactly that.
So beautiful.
Well, I used to meditate for hours a day. You know, I spent 7 years, probably minimum 2 hours a day, sometimes 4 hours a day meditating.
Wow.
And now I don't find I need to do it so long. I can do 10 minutes, or I can get a transmission downloaded within a minute or less. Just it's done. And I'm like, oh, and then I have to unpack it in my mind. Well, how does that all fit together? But the download happens really quickly. And the download, which I've happened in Bath, which was less than a minute, drinking tea, looking at the baths, I really should make notes and sit down and actually make a note before it disappears and, kind of
you want to have
drifts
a
off
little
somewhere.
recorder and just record it into it, exactly how you felt, the feeling of it.
I could do, but I've still got it. It's still resonating strong, but I can't leave it for too long because it will disappear. So there's that one. I've got one called The Web of Light, which is coming out soon, which is about clearing all the strands, connecting us to a present, past, and future reality. So there's that one.
Beautiful.
And there are other ones waiting to come through. Another Isis one wants to come through. This just doesn't stop, really.
It's beautiful. And Steve, give our audience a little bit of guidance about how to get into meditation. Because what we've been going through, this Great Awakening, is all about coming home to the self, isn't it? Coming home to us, going within. Even the lockdowns, for the first time ever, people are going in, they're contemplating, they're changing their job, they're changing their relationship, they're going into the forest and the parks for the first time in their life. They're meditating for the first time, which is inner exploration, the self-discipline, isn't it? The inward realm is just so sometimes scary for people who have never done it before because of that silence, because it's so different from what they're used to, the noise and the 3D. So going into that silence. So give our audience a little bit of how to get into meditation and what has worked for you.
Okay, well, years ago, I remember this born-again Christian saying to me, meditation is dangerous because then evil gets into you. And her attitude was like, if you pray to this external guy in the sky with a beard, you will be okay. And I was like, really? You mean you don't trust yourself? You don't trust your inner? And for some people, meditate, that is one of the objections, that if I find something I don't like inside of me. I remember this guy who looked for his ancestors and found one of them was hung for sheep stealing, and he was mortified. And I'm like, but really, come on, meditation, you will find the light and the shadows within. There is light within you. There are shadows, but those shadows, when you shine the light on, dissipate. And so, yes, there may be old energies that need to be revealed, old angers, old frustrations. But the problem in squashing them down is they become more and more toxic, and they often lead to illness, I believe. Like Louise Hay, she says a lot of the stuff that she talks about is the body reflects repressed emotions, bitterness, resentment, just shoved down, And so what meditation does is opens us up to, and it kind of, I know people who, my mother, for example, was an addictive smoker. She held a lot of grief in her body and she was keep pushing it down. And there are people who drink alcohol to push down anger. But meditation is not doing that. Meditation is the opposite. It's embracing of what's within us. Because when we embrace something within us, it changes. So all of these old energies transform and we become more of a whole person. We realize there's nothing bad inside of us. There's nothing wrong inside of us. Nothing to be ashamed for, nothing to punish, because we could be running self-punishment programs. We can do all this stuff. But when we feel we're a spark of the divine, when we can connect up and down, when we can start connecting ourselves.
That's right.
We don't feel separate anymore. I didn't feel like a separate little marble rolling through this world. I felt like I was a drop in a great ocean, and I'm connected to it. There's that poem, isn't it? You're a child of the universe and you belong here, like the trees and the stars, you belong here. Do you remember that?
And you're a part of that.
It's a very old poem, I think.
You've merged into that oneness, when you merge into the oneness. And that's the thing. I really believe that's the thing that we're all going through at this time, to stop looking outside in that 3D and to come inside, to find that source, that divine, that God, goddess within us, because that's where it is. You don't have to go to a priest or a guru or a leader to find it. Outside. This is what I think we're coming into. The age of Aquarius is going within, isn't it? Finding it within. And when you do, I just think it just gets better and better and better every time you dip in and you start touching that divinity. It just gets more and more all embracing for us. And I just, it's so profound. The more you do it, the more you wish and you want to do it. For me, I just find my breath brings me into that present state so much.
Yeah, breath is so important. Breath is super important. well, religion has taught us to be afraid of ourselves, I think, really.
Yes, and
Religion
that
has
we're
taught
unworthy,
us,
and that we're unworthy. That's the
yeah,
big one. Yeah,
unworthy, sinful, shameful, our
we're not
primal,
divine, not divine.
yeah, all of that stuff. But
Yeah,
meditation teaches us the power of our divinity, all gifts. There's a treasure house within us, not a storehouse of sin or something. You know, it's a treasure house of many lifetimes that we can go in and find. We have gifts which are very practical, like intuition is very practical. You know, I've used intuition a lot to guide me through the world, and you'll find intuition is open through meditation. And there's a lot of people in the world who are struggling, going, we don't know what, the world's too volatile, it's too chaotic, and they're making decisions from their logical mind, and the logical mind can't guide them through this time. My intuition guides me through this a lot. You know, I've been guided a lot. I was guided to put all my work online 4 years ago. Now I realize, wow, my old company I used to be the director of, they were not online, and when this COVID hit, this you know, pandemic hit.
yeah,
They
the
had to
scamdemic.
backpedal really fast. Scamdemic, plandemic, whatever it is. I think it's personally, I think this whole thing is but this is the thing, you see, if you're not opened, if you haven't opened up, you look at these things and you listen to the news and go, oh, well,
You believe that
CNN's right and the Times newspaper's
the
right.
BBC
But when
is
9/11 happened, I knew something was not right.
Yeah.
And now when this pandemic happened, I knew
Yeah.
this is not right. Something's not right.
Yeah.
And people have argued with me all the time. Oh, well, you know, basically Fox News says it's all right and CNN says it's all right. So, and BBC says this is the way it is. And I just think you must be joking.
Yeah.
You must be joking. And I had a phone call just before this call, actually.
Yeah.
From the NHS saying, well, we're just wondering
Do you want
what
your
you're
injection?
thinking of doing. Yeah, they called me on my phone.
Oh,
and
no.
I'm saying, yeah, you guys are desperate or something. You've been
They
texting
are.
me and sending me letters.
Well,
I don't want it.
You can get free hamburgers if you want, and free donuts to go and get your jab. I mean,
free donuts.
It's just ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. But we know that it's the new world order. We know it's.
So there's no way I want it.
No, we're never. You know, I think that we don't need it. We've got our own immunity.
So
We've got our God-given immunity.
If you open up your intuition.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got an immune system. If you open up your intuition, I just feel there's no way I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
You know, someone might give me 100 reasons why the BBC says I should, but there's no way I'm going to take it. My imagination is open through meditation, which means I can see the way forward in a different way than I could before. Where I think take the blinkers off. You know, I see a vaster world. So now I'm just writing my sixth or seventh book. I can't remember now. I've lost time. But I can see the way. I can see it being published. I can see how to do it pretty easily. I've done it already before self-publishing.
Yeah.
And I can see it already there. And so I'm just writing into a project that's already there. I can see it.
Yeah.
But whereas before, my vision was just, I need a job. I need to get a salary 9 to 5. And that was my vision. You know, that was it. Now I'm just, that vision's gone. I don't want 9 to 5 job for me would be the worst thing. You know,
do you think that is because of, you know, all of your awakening and your meditation, and it's giving you that inner trust? It's like you start to trust your higher self. You start to trust in yourself because you're trusting in the divine. You know, it's like, I just put this thing up and it was like, I let go of control and I just allow and I trust and I surrender to divine intervention in my life.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
That control is that 3D thing, isn't it? You know, isn't it? Running around trying to make it happen out there when it's all in here. We make it happen.
Trying to make something happen comes from fear, really. So this fearful response, I've got to make something happen. I've got to do something. I've got to, you know, that kind of more masculine thing. I've got to do something. Whereas intuition may say, wait, don't do anything. You know, wait. It's very interesting using intuition rather than, or a friend of mine used to dream. She was an investment banker, used to dream stuff. And all the men were going, oh, that's rubbish. But then they were like, oh, that dream came true. Oh, have you had any dreams lately? You know? In this time, we can't be guided by logic. And we shouldn't be guided by fear, because a lot of decisions people are making, I think even to take the, you know what, are from fear.
Anyway, this is the Great Awakening, and every single, we're all awakening, you know, and it's just going, I think the momentum is really, really, it's just unstoppable.
Oh, it's exponential. I think, you know, the planet has changed dramatically in the last 30 years. If you think, 30 years ago,
yeah,
well, I can't remember when the internet happened, really,
yeah,
but it was really at the beginning, so not very much happening. The whole world has changed. The way we work has changed. The way we listen to music has changed. The way we move through the world's changed.
exactly.
Everything has changed now. It will change again the next 30 years. Starseeds are coming down to help this radical exponential change in every area, from technology to ley lines to multidimensional healing. The Starseeds are the weird ones. They've come to to change the world. And a lot of people who don't have that same view are looking at people like us going, are you crazy?
Yeah.
Steve, when you start talking about angels and ascension, are you crazy?
No. Tell us what a starseed is, because people don't know what a starseed is. What's a starseed?
So in the beginning, I mentioned about living many lifetimes, and this is just one dimension of the earth and one dimension of reality. I think Jesus the Christ said it, in my Father's mansion there are many rooms, and I didn't understand what's he talking about, that parable he gives. And now I kind of understand it as there are many different rooms, many different realities, many different dimensions in this huge house, which you can call God or creator, whatever you call it. And starseeds come from places where there are very different realities that come from other star systems, higher vibrational dimensions. And coming into this lower dimension, for a starseed, it's difficult because usually they forget when they come in the body, they forget everything. But they have a kind of inkling of there's something not right with the world. The world could be different. The world's slightly insane in some ways. Some starseeds, the new ones, are very sensitive. They can't cope with school systems. They can't cope with these authoritarian factory type of, schools are made to send people into factories and offices. A lot of these kids don't want that kind of life. They want a different life. They're too unique for that. And so they're struggling and with the system, but they're also coming to break the system. So for example, in some of the meditations, I might connect with Arcturians or Pleiadians or Syrians or Andromedans, or all these groups of beings which are from other systems, which are interested now on the earth plane because the earth is changing, and they're here to help. So you get a lot of starseeds who are in the body, but they feel different, feel black sheep of the family or rainbow sheep of the family. Feel their family didn't get them, feel the world doesn't get them, but they're looking for their tribe of other people who don't belong like them. So we're all in the tribe of ones who don't belong. We belong to the tribe of not belonging. It's
so true. And you know what? It's that feeling of like, this is not my real home. I know that I'm going to go to my, my home. It's like, and when you meet up with your soul tribe that you've been reincarnated with many times before in different dimensions and different, existences, that's just beautiful and I think it's a real coming together of that time and of raising them. We're being quickened. It's like a quickening, to raise us up so that we can help others, because awaken at this time, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think, starseeds are very connected. A lot of them are connected to nature spirits. Some are connected to inner earth. Some are really into new technology. They're really birthing new technologies, new ideas. In that way, they're drawn in all different kind of areas of awakening. Some people become spiritual teachers. Some become people who come to wake up others, like Morpheus. So starseeds come to help wake up other starseeds. People who are earth seeds, which are really beings who are not, they've been here a long time. They've been in this reincarnation cycle a long time. They're not going to wake up in the same way. They're not going to wake up through meditation, through spiritual revelation. They're not going to wake up through an angelic experience. They don't believe in it. They won't be touched by it. What they will wake up by is, and they are waking up now actually, is through revelation, through WikiLeaks, through Paradise Papers. All of this revelations is waking up the masses.
We're in that,
So you're seeing a lot of people. A lot of people are demonstrating now against the government. We don't want this lockdown. They're not all starseeds. No. They're waking up because they believe it's a scam.
Yeah, and it's worldwide.
So,
it is worldwide. I'm going to the next one. I've decided, me and my children, I said, no, I just need to be in that energy with all of them people, no masks, walking along, feeling what a wonderful experience to feel that energy. We're all marching for freedom because this is the truth.
Yeah.
This is how we feel. And it's all about sovereignty. I do not consent. You know, this is a time of not consenting, of standing up for our rights. It's, we, you know, all them people out there, the Spiritual Alliance, the Earth Alliance, they can help us so far, but it's a ground movement. It's an earth peace through self peace movement, isn't it? It's us waking up and us making that stand. We the people coming together, and it's happening. It's so exciting.
Yeah. So the dark forces which are doing all these things, you know, the dark forces pulling the strings, the billion trillionaires who are kind of pulling those strings, you know, you can see how the strings are being pulled in governments now and in pharmaceutical companies, and all these strings are being pulled. And you've got this consensus now around this is going on, there's all these variants, and you've got to take toxic chemicals, and people, and you're hearing it everywhere, you know, and it's just like, we're not having all of that. And so the dark forces, with all of their skullduggery, are actually waking people up. 9/11 woke people up.
It's like, it's the
this
contrast.
Is waking people up in a bigger way.
Yeah, because it forces them to the brink. It's like
people are seeing where it doesn't feel right.
Yeah, that's right. And it's like,
they feel something's not right.
That's right. It forces them. It's like bringing them to the precipice where they just, you know, they know it's not right, and it forces them, doesn't it? So I want to know, Steve, please give us your view on how you see this great awakening affecting the future of humanity. What do you see? This beautiful new earth. How do you see this?
Well, I see the change as being slow. I mean, I know some people play out this dramatic, I mean, there are dramatic pulses of light all the time happening, downloads and light codes from the sun. It's constant and ongoing. But I don't really see a one big event. There may be massive events going on, like this pandemic is one event. There may be other events going on, but I see it's a steady, slow shift into a new earth. Where you could say the old brigade are going to die out. Once they leave this planet, they're not coming back. The vibration is shifting too high. So those people are still learning through 3D, won't come back here. They'll go to another dimension. The timelines are splitting, dimensions are splitting. You can see the world is already splitting between love and fear, really. People are just into fear and people are into love. So the dimensions are splitting, not just two dimensions. There are other choices that people can take. So beyond this lifetime, people can come back here and really appreciate a new earth. You know, it may be 50 years, it may be 100 years, where it really fully anchors on the planet, because there's a lot of cleaning up to do. There's a lot of mess that has to be cleaned up, and it may take a lifetime to really clean up plastics in the ocean and all of that stuff, you know. And there are still people with the old mentality that are not willing to change, and they have to kind of die off and go on their own timeline. They're not going to come. But all the new souls coming in, you know, I think a lot of the souls coming in are starseeds. Imagine if the whole world is filled with people with a higher consciousness. You won't have the kind of politics we have. You won't have the corporations we have now. They won't be doing that. So it's all a question of consciousness, really. So I see the dimensions are shifting. This planet's ascending. There's a lot of people that won't want to come back here. There may be some earth changes. I don't know about how severe they will be. Earth changes are dependent on the consciousness of the collective, and it may well be that the earth changes will be gradual and not so. We had earth changes already, the tornadoes and the tsunamis, but we don't want a big whack. No, you know, we don't want that. So hopefully the planet will avoid that.
Can I ask you, I just want to pick up on something you just said there. It depends on the consciousness of the planet, and we are the consciousness of the planet. So as we raise our vibration, as we keep doing our meditations and keep doing our inner work and, you know, our shadow work and, you know, giving out and helping others and doing what we got to do, we're raising the consciousness. So therefore, earth changes won't be so drastic. You know, it will harmonize and balance, you know, the energies. So it's us who are creating that, isn't it? We're creating this new world by the way we think and by the way we feel.
So at the moment there's a lot of volatility because you have the new raising of consciousness and the old brigade, which are pumping out horror and fear in Hollywood and Netflix and all that stuff. And these two energies together are volatile, highly volatile, because you don't have just one group of people on the planet all focusing on harmony. You have harmony and love, and you have war and fear and terror. And so these two coming together are creating all kinds of weird stuff. So the hope is that the consciousness of the planet can start neutralizing any big problems that could occur. You know, like who would have predicted the pandemic? You know, and the consciousness raising is, I think, is a direct result. This is a direct result of the consciousness raising. It's created these things. 9/11 was a result of this as well. So there are events, but hopefully the events could be contained, so that they're contained. And this will be contained and dissipated quickly, so it does not affect people's freedom. Because the hope is, or the design is, from the dark forces point of view, that they can use this to restrict freedoms and take away and control things and introduce new stuff. And that's not what we want. So it's playing out. It's an interplay.
That will not happen. I really believe, this light versus dark war that is going on in the spiritual realms has already been won. It just takes time to manifest in our physical world, which is bringing chaos and shocking events to waken up masses of people to the truth. That's the way that we wake up, isn't it? So but we still have to contend with difficult school systems, difficult governments, military wanting to use their muscle, and that still has to be neutralized, and that's the process we're in, really. And pollution has to be cleaned up, because the consciousness of the planet and polluting the planet with, let's pump loads of plastic in the sea. Did nobody think? They don't think. It's about money, short-term money. And so the consciousness has to change into not about that. It's about this. There is no planet B. No. And we can't keep poisoning the air and the earth and all of our food and us. It's a real cleanse, this whole awakening. So Steve, give our audience just a few little guidances about. But give our audience some guidance about going through this great shift.
Time for silence. Nature, wild nature is important. Diet is important. I found that my diet started changing when I was 15. I became macrobiotic at 15. You can't pour Krispy Kreme donuts and McDonald's into that body and expect a clear vehicle.
No. Consciousness
is related to the body, and this is an awakening in the body. We're not going to leave the body. So diet, water, pure water. We've got a big filter here and also tachyons and crystals, and make the water beautiful. And EMFs, protect yourself. EMFs are a problem. I've got EMF protective clothing and orgonite crystals and everything. I've got beanie hats with protection in it. Watch out for the EMFs. Your sangha of people, who you hang out with. Be careful of who you hang out with. As the Buddha, in Buddhism, one of the key elements of Buddhism is sangha, your community of people. If you're hanging out with people who are toxic, angry, frustrated, fearful, you're going to pick up that vibe. You need to be connecting with people of a higher vibe, making friends who are more in line with your true sense of self and where you're going. Know what's important for you, your values, what's truly important, which for most starseeds is going to be freedom, spirituality, creative self-expression, and ongoing learning. Core values. Make sure your life is aligned with those values, especially your work, because you might be having great spiritual values, but you might live it and work in a company that has very poor values, which is just about making money and giving shareholders. That's not aligning with you. Tune into, you're here for a reason. What is that reason? And at the beginning, the reason's not clear. You have to find it. It's like finding the hero's path. I don't know what I'm here to do. Find it. Try out stuff. Values are a great pointer. Your dreams are a great pointer, what you're here to do. Your strengths and gifts are a great pointer. Your weirdness is a great pointer, what you're weirdly interested in. Your challenges are great pointers. What challenges you've overcome, and then you can help other people with. These are all part of your soul mission and soul purpose. Embrace your fear. And fear is a normal human emotion, really. Starseeds have it. Starseeds are not immune to it, but we have to feel the fear and do it anyway. It's not about jumping in front of a speeding car or climbing a very dangerous mountain. It's about facing your fear and doing the things you feel you're afraid to do but can't do, like public speaking or smiling and hugging a stranger. COVID aside and all that.
Yeah.
Nonsense. Or it's about starting your own business, or it's about setting up that Facebook group for Starseeds or spiritual light workers, or whatever it is you're meant to be doing. Do it. And the first step is always difficult, but once you do it, you might be afraid to do it, but you're excited as well.
It's beautiful. Steve, that is so beautiful. And I just want to say thank you for all of your wisdom and all your truth. And I want to say thank you for being on the Great Awakening Show.
Thank you, Joanne.